Hello everyone, my name is Zachary Ware, and for my second paper I chose to write about incentives and ethical behavior. So ethical decision making in business has been a rapidly growing topic in recent years as businesses are required to become seemingly more and more transparent in their business practices. Many businesses have implemented numerous systems and activities to ensure that employees adhere to strict ethical guidelines. However, with the proper incentives, an employee or manager may fall short of their expected ethical behavior. So to begin, I'd like to speak briefly about ethical behavior. So in all facets of business, ethical behavior seems to be a key focus point. Many companies as well as individuals strive to better understand truly what ethics is and how it relates to their day-to-day activities. Traditionally, ethical behavior involves acting in accordance to what society thinks are good values, such as honesty, fairness, equality, dignity, diversity, and individual rights. A company that fails to understand the ramifications of unethical decision making may face customer rebuttal, loss of business, and the possibility of bankruptcy. For most businesses and companies, strong ethical and moral behavior begins with the upper level management. Managers and leaders alike must take it upon themselves to showcase strong ethical behaviors in the hopes that all employees will then reflect it and show their own strong moral aptitudes. All ethical behaviors from managers as well as employees directly represents the organization for which they work. However, before an actual code of ethics, which is often distributed as an employee handbook, can be generated for a company, the company must first develop an internal culture, one that in and of itself directly reflects the ethics and values that the company stands for, and that impact everything from productivity to the employee retention and morale. Many times, employees that show high moral standings and strong ethical behavior have their actions rewarded, whereas employees who fail to uphold the company's code of ethics are often punished. To ensure that employees behave ethically, a company must empower its employees, making ethical behavior the norm and not the exception. To fully empower its employees, a company must issue a written code of ethics, offer ethical training programs for managers as well as employees, offer open advice and consultation for employees, and offer an anonymous and easy-to-use system of ethical reporting. Once an employee is empowered with all the tools and systems needed to make strong ethical decisions, a company must continue to motivate the employees into doing so. One way that employees can bring attention to issues of ethics is referred to as whistleblowing. Whistleblowers are individuals or groups of employees that notice unethical business practices and promptly report the guilty persons to either management or, in extreme cases, to the proper authorities. In many cases, the whistleblowers may be rewarded or even praised for their strong ethical behaviors. However, in a few certain cases, whistleblowers have been criticized or even fired for publicizing faults within the company. Although there are many things that a company can do to help employees make better ethical decisions, much of the ethics is rooted within the individual. An employee that can recognize the potential ethical shortfallings of a situation or even of themselves will often make the best ethical decision inherently, without the need for an employee code of ethics handbook or consultation. Throughout all the areas of business, ethics is a topic that is consistently referenced and is something that nearly all persons try to keep in mind when making any given decision. So now on to incentives. So for many people, the driving force behind their actions are simply the incentives to complete the action. So simply put, why should a person go to work in the morning? Well, to receive a paycheck. Why should a student complete an assignment? To get a good grade. Or why should a CEO lay off a large portion of a workforce? To receive a larger year-end bonus. Every person and every action carry different incentives. For most employees, the driving force behind their actions is simply to receive a paycheck. There can be, however, more incentives than this. Often when a person is searching for a job, they will not only look at their gross income that they will be receiving, but at what other incentives are offered. Typical incentives offered to employees may include healthcare coverage, dental and eye care insurance, an employer match retirement accounts, or a sign-on or a year-end bonus. So for obvious reasons, different people seek out different incentives. For example, a woman with 2 small children may be more incentivized by the promise of a medical insurance rather than an employee match retirement account, or a single man may be more enticed by a hefty sign-on bonus rather than a dental insurance. Recently, however, employers have been adding to the list of employee-offered incentives. This growing list now includes, for some companies, flex time, corporate memberships to gyms or spas, an employee family involvement, getting the children involved, getting the entire family involved, project-based compensation, and workplace wellness programs, ensuring that all members of the workplace are healthy and fit. At the upper level management and executive level, many of the incentives are the same, medical insurance or perhaps a larger sign-on bonus. One of the major differences, however, is between the average employee and management is the degree to which compensation is received. So many managers and executives assume larger amounts of risk and responsibilities in their professional lives and thus should be compensated accordingly. These additional compensations are often seen as stock bonuses for publicly traded companies or even just a simple cash bonus for a privately held company. Per a study conducted by Sarah Rines from the University of Iowa, cash-based bonuses can actually cause employees, not managers or executives necessarily, to increase their productivity by as much as 49%. So now on to the impact of incentives on ethical behavior. As briefly mentioned, even the most seemingly ethical people are susceptible to unethical behaviors should there be ample motivation. It's easy to see how a manager may falsify documents or purposefully skew financial data to make it appear more favorable for the company. The driving force behind much of unethical behavior is the financial incentives offered. One popular example is based on Green Giant, a subsidiary of General Mills. Green Giant was having problems where insect parts were being packaged in with their frozen and canned vegetables. Employees were told that they would be compensated with small cash bonuses if they picked out and or reported the insect parts from the produce. In turn, employees were caught actually bringing in insects from home and caught planting the insect parts into the produce simply to collect the cash bonus. A key mantra in business is maximize shareholder value, meaning that the company and its employees should do anything and everything within their power to continuously increase the stock price. On the surface, maximizing shareholder value seems like it would be a great idea. The better the company performs, the more the employees' stocks are worth, causing the employees to continue to work hard and stay focused, continually growing the company. On paper, this would make investors, employees, and executives extremely happy. However, in the wake of recent financial disasters, it came to light that many upper-level managers and executives were receiving exorbitant bonuses based strictly on short-term successes that actually proved to be overall disastrous to the company and its stakeholders. So there are countless instances of managers and executives falsifying information or bending company rules simply to net themselves a higher bonus, and even more undocumented instances where managers and employees alike act unethically simply to be given a cash bonus, which raises the question, what can be done to stop or at least minimize unethical behavior? A popular belief is that companies should not completely dissolve cash bonus systems, but instead focus on more intrinsic words: knowledge, responsibility, and pride, to name a few. To make this work, a company needs to make its employees autonomous, make them masters of their jobs, and to give them a purpose in their work. An autonomous employee means giving employees a choice in what to do and when to do it. An autonomous employee doesn't need to report everything to the managers the moment the task is done, but instead gets the freedom to make certain choices within their given tasks. An employee that shows mastery in their job is often more likely to produce a higher yield and a higher quality than an employee who is novice or a beginner in their field, instilling them with a sense of pride, especially when asked to help train new employees. Giving purpose to an employee means instilling them with the idea that what they do makes a difference for the company. It involves having an employee contribute meaningful work daily, and once an employee has a sense of autonomy, mastery, and purpose, the cash incentives will mean less to the employee, make them much less likely to behave unethically in their daily activities. So I know that many times in undergrad degrees and in graduate degrees, students touch on the topic of ethics and ethical behavior. So in this paper, I wanted to briefly introduce what ethics is and what it entails, and how incentives can skew people's ideas of ethics, how dangling that extra bit of cash for the end of the year can make a person falsify documents, or in the case of Green Giant, how it can cause employees to start putting bugs into food that's going to be sold. So I think this is a genuinely interesting introduction, and it was a very interesting paper to write on how incentives can skew people's ideas of ethical behavior.